Get out there earlier today and get some sun so I wouldn't have as much mosquito issues, but it was overcast until afternoon. So I had to wait till the clouds dispersed, and then went out for about 30 minutes, and the mosquitoes, and then you got to go in and go, shit, because it's only in the 70s, so it's you're soaking in the sun. It's good it helps get the vitamins in and the toxins out. And I'm not John McCain. Okay, I'm not an aggressive, violent, selfish, murdering asshole. These people, the toxins you produce through your actions. Okay. Now, most of my toxins are from abuse and not from abusing myself through fighting with others. So that's why Suzuki's very staunch about you're not this, and then I'm like, but Haley and Sun Yat-sen, so that was a different time, and they had different science projects, and okay, and Bob, I get all, but and then he goes, and technically no, they're not any quote healthier than you, or in a lot of the cases, like especially like with your cousin, you're actually a physically a more capable and stronger person, and he was very strong. Yeah. I don't like to think too much or talk about the stuff with Bob. I guess that's why we don't talk as much as I think we want to. What do you tell them? They're going to murder you, and there's nothing that I can do about it. And they're doing similar things to Haile Selassie because of the Tuskegee experiments. And what do you say? What do you talk about? They ask questions, and Nida mia, no quiero saber. And like I told Brian Manwarn, if you don't need to know, you don't want to know. And I told that to Nesta, right? There's nothing you can do about it. It'll drive you mad. So don't ask me. Okay? I love you, right? So I don't like to talk about Bob too much. My relationship and my conversations were different with Malik, with Malcolm X. I naturally adore him. There's similar conversations and personality and interactions are very similar with Keith Elam. Even though Keith's a cancer and Malcolm's not, they have similar emotional, very similar emotionally, even though they're different zodiac signs. You react differently to the environment and to other people through your zodiac sign. And that's just a physiological thing because of the time of your birth and stuff. But as far as genetics and people that are like you in spirit and tribe and stuff, and there's a lot of similarities. So you have to embrace and see those and love people. And I couldn't help but love Malcolm. He's a wonderful person. He was a criminal and all that. Yeah, he was angry, like Vanessa here in town, Deja's mom. I was a bad person. You weren't a bad person. You were mad. You were acting out. I had moments when I, did things that a lot of the Mormons are. He's a bad person. It's just me. It was McHale's Navy. It was Parsons' Air Force, basically, is what it was. And I was that way in elementary school. I was that way in junior high. I was that way, and I was always that dude. And I was always the one taking the brunt for the abuse from the coaches, the teachers, the whatever. I was always the one that, remember when Jim was sexually harassing those girls and no one they didn't even go to Phil, and Phil was a good guy. They came to Earl. They didn't go to Phil with it. They weren't sure if they could get anything done with it. Earl had to get things done. Same thing in the military. Go to Parsons. Talk to Parsons. So in Cochise County, go talk to, Rabbi Ralph. Go talk to the guru. And so I've always been that person. And like with Mr. Carey's program at what's the name of that place, Three Springs or whatever in Hereford, and they dismantled his. He was getting too many people that were too good at it, and they were going more in a right. He wasn't left wing at all. No, he just understood kids and didn't want them to be abused by the system. He was from Alamogordo, and I was from Cruces. And we know how the system is set up to abuse certain kids. And Nate Reynolds was the exact opposite. Conform or you need to be incarcerated. Me and Mr. Carey were more like, they will incarcerate you if you don't understand how to yield and overcome to their conditions. Okay, me and Mr. Carey and Mr. Tejas were very different than Nate Reynolds and the people from Montana and Missouri and Idaho and shit. The cultural norms were radically different. When you come from New Mexico and you come from Arizona and you come from California and Tejas and stuff, it's your understanding of cultural norms and what one culture is doing, what one culture is doing with the other, are radically different. And I always said that, we take our biggest leaps forward as human beings when cultures collide, but we also take like 3 steps back. And it's when one culture thinks it's better than the other and has nothing to learn from the other culture, is when we as human beings diminish more than we maintain balance, harmony, and understanding. We become, and hope for the future and all that we can be and not what we are. The Hawk and the Eagle and the Hawk by John Denver. All right. And so it's, I was out there listening to some music. I didn't flip them off today. I did yesterday. They were connecting me to stuff with Patrick, and I just sat there and went, fuck you. Fuck you. I know that I should be, and the rain will fall. It falls for you. That's my song. That reminds me of Patrick. Then when Amy took my music and listened to it, said a reminder of Yorgev, I was like, it made me very mad, You ran my son out, and then you make my son, you take the song that reminds me of my son and us being apart, and you apply it to that sexual predator that you met online? No, Patrick's not a sexual predator. Patrick has been abused all life by sexual predators in the military. And it has very difficult effects on him. It makes him, where Yorgev thinks he's charming and goes out and enjoys it and says, you've got to learn to be more like a European woman who's more free sexually. Patrick sits there and goes, how do I help protect children from being predicated on by assholes like this? He's more like his pops, There's nothing wrong with, Gomez Adams being the chaperone of the dance to try to get the Polish kids and the Puerto Rican kids to, find the one that's right for you at the dance, right? Maria. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it is wrong when people put a virtual presence in your house, watch your bedroom, will not let you maturate like me and Ennis Cosby, right? Okay, you understand us? Sons of baskets, right? And then Ennis gets killed. He tries to become a compassionate. They base Theo's character off Ennis, guys. Okay, so if you like Theo Huxtable, you really liked Ennis Cosby. Okay, because Theo and Ennis are a lot alike. You're like, well, Theo was an adorable person. He's the type of person you want to be friends with. That's the type of guy you want to hang around. You teaching your kids at school, especially if they're dyslexic. Right. Okay. That's where they drew all the information and the stories and stuff was from Ennis Cosby's life. He was a school teacher. And he had he worked in areas where he could help kids that needed the help. And he had a really nice car because his dad had lots of money. And somebody who was poor killed him for his car. Same things happened with James Jordan in South Carolina. You understand? James hung out with family that lived in the poorer areas. He had this really nice car that his son bought him. His dad was killed for his car. Kind of like on the Time Machine with Guy Pearce in the park, with the rich lady and the rich guy meeting at the park and him giving the ring, and then the guy comes up to, here comes the Mr. Sykes and his dog. Right? More gruel, please. Right? Do you understand? So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Not really. We have mass communications. We have science now. If you can't validate your perception of beliefs and the way you understand the words creation and faith scientifically, him say you in heap big trouble. What can 2 little Indians do? Go, 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 first watch them go, go, go. They connected me to the spirit of Krishna and Buddha through Judeo-Krishnamurti, and we've connected in prayer. We know who each other are. Okay. And if they take the one like him and plug him into a computer, the one that's not plugged into a computer is going to be an advocate for him. Like, when you work with kids that with disabilities or kids that are incarcerated because of this class warfare system that we still live in, right? And so, go, go, go first, watch them go, 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 whoopee doopy, genius, right? So, and the same with Sun Yat-sen and D.T. Suzuki. Why do you think Jesus gave me these guys? In prayer and meditation, these guys will help you the most. Because I don't know what they're going through. I'm like you. I'm not plugged into a computer. I'm not a God. I'm the messenger of faith in God of the Hebrew tribe. And you're the molecular structure, the similitude of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Okay. They're not the molecular similitude of Adam, Moses, Jesus, John, but their faith is similar to ours because of faith in infinite essence through an eternal existence. Go, go, go first. Watch them go, go, go. Remember that one where they did the Cleveland Indian? That one's funny. Okay. So, that's one of I got them. I took them off. I got to put them back on. They're dumb, but they're funny. I used to love watching those when I was a kid. We didn't get enough of them. It's not on enough. I like Underdog Show better than Bullwinkle. The satire is not as biting and adult, The Bullwinkle Show was more of an adult cartoon, for political social satire. The Underdog Show was just silly. It was fun. It's cute though. Yeah, it was very cute. So I like Kate. I like the Underdog. I like Underdog too. I like Underdog a little bit better than Bullwinkle and Rocky. But Bullwinkle Walker is not bad. It's just the political social satire has a little bit more of adult content, like laughing and stuff. And sometimes you just want just dumb and funny, like Kate likes. I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy used to irritate me as a kid because I'd be like, hey, Ricky, just let her go in the show. Same way Bill Cosby was with Tonto. Don't go into town. The bad guys are waiting for you and they'll beat the snot out of you. So that's how I was when I watched Lucy. I was like, she's funny. Give her a shot in the show. Maybe she'll make a good vaudeville comedy act. What the hell is wrong with Ricky? You macho Cuban man. Knock it off. Cubans have been good to me. Yeah. Mr. Montalvo almost destroyed his family with his macho bullshit. But the women? Hijola. Yeah. Where's the path? Jackie? Yeah. And then she married Lebanese guys. Yeah, he's one of the best guys you've ever met. Okay. He's an absolute sweetheart. He completely adored her. He loved her, and he loved her devotion and her wanting a faithful man that was kind and respectful and romantic. Okay. Peter wasn't the most physically attractive. There are other guys that, I could take Jackie from you. No, there's not a man today who can. I hope they're still together, like Helen and Carlos. When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind on. And Donna and Rodney. There's a lot of couples that I'm hoping. I hope they're still together, and I hope they're well enough to. Recover from me surviving, and I hope they're surviving, and I will stop and eliminate this abuse. I think people that knew me in my past, that knew what a good person I was, I think if they had access to me, they'd go, Earl's right, I always knew it. Because they always used to say that, Al, it's Jesus, he's the guru, he's the angel, he's this, and they always knew, you're somebody really special, and they used to tell me that, and I was like, yeah, y'all gonna read to me slow? Okay. In the beginning, there was the Word. Now we need more money. And when we get enough money, Jesus will come and save us from the other people's money, which is bad because it has the wrong faces on it. Okay. Son of a bitch. We suck again, right? So you're just like, what? So yeah, well, you guys connected me to my son. Okay. See my Mary Ann walking away. I don't know if I'm going to put music together for him and send it to him and write him a letter or anything like that. Write a letter, write another letter. It never seems to work really well, I think, because of the mental and emotional abuse through the technology. And if this isn't working, how is a letter and a bunch of old songs going to work? When I'm alone and I need someone to talk to, I talk to your picture. No, I don't have any of your pictures in my wallet. I do have Altoids can. Do anybody else collect Altoids can? Cleans them out, put stuff in. I put my memory cords in Altoids tins, and I put my spare chains in Altoids tins. And there's a bunch of and I don't talk to the Kennedys or the Washingtons or the Jeffersons or the Lincolns. I don't have any Lincolns in there. Lincolns are in the little jar right there. Okay, guys, I love you, all right? Peace out, man.